Today I have a special episode where I'm going to give you guys some updates on the channel as well as answer some of your questions. Hey, George here with the New Hunter's Guide, the YouTube channel and podcast helping new hunters get started and bringing new insights to all hunters. Guys, today I have a bonus episode for you. This does not replace the weekly video, but this is an extra one where I just wanted to give you guys some news, some updates, some info about changes that are happening with the channel, and then answer some frequently asked questions that you guys have sent in. Now, first and foremost, I want to let you guys know about an addition that I've been making and working on for much of the past year, and that is on the website newhuntersguide.com. I've been putting a lot of work into articles and reviews. These are feature length content pieces, things that are just too long, too much detail to go into on YouTube, or maybe they started as a YouTube video, but in 10 minutes you can only tell so much of the story, but I can do an extensive write-up, an article, or review to go a lot further into depth to give you guys more information along that topic. That's all free. There's no cost to any of it. It's all on the website. And I am regularly adding more and more articles and more reviews. And like I said, some of them, they start as YouTube videos and then they just grow to more depth, more details. But I want to let you guys know that's available to you. And of course, it's a three-part ecosystem with the New Hunter's Guide. First, you got the YouTube videos. You're very aware of that, right? You're watching one. Where I do reviews, where I do field testing, experiments, research, and just general information or things that are timely, topical, helpful, or just things I feel compelled to interject on. And then I've got the blog where on the website I've got those articles, reviews, in-depth content, and then I've got the podcast. And that's where I'm able to give in-depth hunting tactics and strategy. How to hunt deer, how to hunt turkeys, how to hunt ducks, and literally about a dozen other types of game where I start at level 1, work the way up, and then year after year just adding higher level strategy, higher level input, more experience, more insight onto those topics. And of course, I organize all of that by category and by subject on the website as well under categories. So that's sort of the New Hunter's Guide ecosystem. Number 2, if any of you guys are local to the channel, and I know some of you are, I will be presenting this weekend on Saturday the 18th at the Monroeville Convention Center's USA and International Outdoor Show. I've been invited to speak on the subject of 10 waterfowl hunting ammunition secrets. And so I'm going to be there. I think my time is 4 p.m. on Saturday. So if you're local and you want to come out, if not, I'm going to distill down that presentation after I give it into a much more condensed version for YouTube, so you can look for that video in the future as well. That will be coming. Number 3, this is a big announcement, something I've been thinking about and working on for a while now. And in fact, I put out a call for input from you guys in the last number of weeks on the podcast to see what people thought. And that is that I have made the decision to move forward and start a Patreon account for the channel. And there's several reasons for this. First reason, it can cost a lot of money to make these videos. I don't know if you guys realize everything that goes into it. You've got paper, you've got targets, you've got ammo, you've got equipment and things like choke tubes, you got AV equipment, range fees, all the things that go into this, software and so on. There's a lot of cost to it. Now recently, I put out a good ammo test video that did real nice out of the gate. Several thousand views. It was trending well. And I think YouTube paid me like all of $6. And I was like, $6? That's not even enough to cover the big paper that I was shooting the ammo at, let alone the reactive targets, let alone ammunition or anything beyond that. And so one of the things I decided is this is an avenue that's maybe overdue, needs to happen to help support and fund these channels. But you guys are the ones that asked for it. Again and again and again, I get comments and emails and things from you guys saying, hey, why don't you have a Patreon account? Hey, how can I support the channel? Now, recently, YouTube added a feature called the Super Thanks, which you guys can find down near the subscribe button somewhere, depending on what screen you're using, which is a way that you can tip creators and, basically just contribute to the channel. And I thought, okay, great, this is good. That sort of takes the place of Patreon. We don't even need to think about that anymore. But then some of you guys were very generous to support the channel using that feature, and I found out the other side of the story with that. And that is that YouTube says that they take about 30% of those funds just because they're YouTube, plus additional transaction processing fees and taxes, which end up totaling almost 50% of the money that's given through the Super Thanks tool. I know because it's happened, and I ran the math and did the numbers, even reached out to YouTube because I thought this can't be right, and they confirmed it was right. And I've worked in nonprofit management and fundraising and things for a number of years, and to think that a platform would take almost 50% of the funds that are given for a specific person or reason. This is not advertising money. This is people who go to work, who make money, who want to contribute to help out a channel, and then YouTube takes almost 50% of it. It's just going into the black hole of YouTube's pockets. Now, I'm not anti-YouTube. I think YouTube should make a cut. They should make their fair share. But to me, that's just unreasonable, almost 50% just disappearing into thin air. To me, I think, somewhere between 80 and 90% of the funds should go to the channels or to wherever it's designated. And that's what Patreon enables. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it is a platform that enables individual people to contribute to help creators and artists and content platforms and things like that with monthly micro gifts and things of that nature. And they take a very minimal piece for platform and processing fees compared to YouTube. So, you guys asked for it, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do it. But you guys, overwhelmingly reached out and said, hey, you need to do this. You should have already been doing this. Why are you even hesitating? So now that's available, and you can find the link to Patreon down below in the notes of this video and pretty much all the videos going forward. I do promise not to beat that continually every single video like a drum. It's one of the reasons I didn't want to do it at first, because I don't want to be that guy. But that's now an option available, and I appreciate everyone's support, especially those who found it and began to support the channel before I even announced it. You know who you are, and thank you so much. All right, now some frequently asked questions that you guys have asked. Again and again, I hear things that are related to my background. Who am I to make these videos? What's my background? What gives me the right to do these experiments? And I've sort of tongue-in-cheek talked about this in the past and say, I'm a guy, I have ammo, I have a camera, I go down, I make videos, you guys watch them and let me know if you like them or not. That's pretty much YouTube. That's how this thing works, right? You don't need special credentials to make these videos, and the thought that people would think that is ridiculous. Nonetheless, people do ask serious questions. And so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into my background as it relates to what I do here on YouTube. And so, very long story, just short to what I think matters for this conversation. And that is, I have a bachelor's of science in communications media. I have a master's degree in adult education and communications technology. And I have a PhD in communications media and instructional technology. I have three-part PhD, essentially broken down into focused theory, focused research, and teaching pedagogy. All of that combined with the other degrees is a long way of saying that I am a professionally trained researcher and a professionally trained educator. In fact, for several years, I taught at university, and one of the subjects that I taught on was media and technology skills for aspiring educators, people that were going for elementary ed, secondary ed, things along those lines. And so I am trained as a teacher, and I am trained as a researcher. I have published peer-reviewed research. I've conducted experimental research. I know how to do those things. Now, that is not a degree in ballistics, but it's the same principles of research. And I know how to build studies in ballistics to get scientifically quantitative data that has high levels of validity, reliability, low margin of error that would pass the rigor of academic journals for publication. However, to do that, I would need to repeat some of the tests that I do dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands of times under controlled conditions, which would basically mean a controlled, heated, cold, indoor ballistics laboratory that I could 100% control every controllable variable and repeat these subjects again and again. And nobody has the budget or the time to do that. Not me, and in fact, not most of the ammo companies. There are probably a handful of human beings on planet Earth that have those kind of resources and funding to do those sorts of things. And none of them seem like they're interested in studying the questions that I want answers to. So I take the science and the research background that I have, and I look forward with that, and I say, okay, how can I develop some kind of tests that we can learn something, that we can get insights, that we can have a little bit more to go on than just the marketing and things that are written on the back of packaging and stuff like that. So that is what I've set out to try to do with the YouTube channel in order to just build the general base of knowledge and understanding and awareness with research, with tests, with experiments, with reviews, and things along those lines. Also, I am a trained educator, like I mentioned. And part of what I do is I apply my passion for hunting, my knowledge for research, with my training for teaching to try to deliver this information to you guys in a way that is understandable, relatable, and can reach a wide audience. That's part of the core essence of what drives me to do this. I am not a professional hunter, nor do I know how you get certified for that. Like, where can you go that you become a certified professional hunter? But that said, I don't hunt full time. I have a job, all right? I've got other things in my life beyond hunting. And so, you know, I'm not a professional hunter, but I am a passionate, enthusiastic hunter. And I'm also someone that has the background and the knowledge to try to build on that and take information and do testing and then express that information to you guys. True story. A lot of the people that I know that are, you know, some of the most experienced hunters, and they're in the duck woods, you know, 60, 80 days a year. They're hunting deer in the stand 40, 50, 60, 70 days a year. They don't teach nothing to nobody. They don't want to talk to people. They don't want to be on camera. They are absolutely not teachers. They don't want to talk to their friends half the time about hunting stuff. They just want to be out there. It's their passion, and they do very little to pass along the knowledge. If that's you and you're watching this video, you need to stop that. All right, you need to pass on what you know. But that said, no, I'm not one of those guys. I am not able, maybe one day I will be able to hunt with that level of intensity. I would like that probably. Maybe not year round, but during certain seasons, that would be pretty awesome. But nonetheless, you know, I'm not trying to pretend to be somebody that hunts with that level of tenacity and that level of time and dedication. I've said it from the beginning, I'm an average hunter who just so happens to have a PhD and a low tolerance for marketing hype. So I want to get information, I want to learn it, I want to understand it for me so I can answer my own questions and then express that information to you guys to help answer your questions. So that is a part of my background. I am also a credentialed minister. I am a pastor, an assisting pastor, not full-time. And so I do try to bring that worldview into some of my videos when it's relevant. That's just part of who I am. I don't look for places to try to preach to people. It just comes out here and there. It's part of how I see things. I make no apologies for that. And this is just a disclaimer that, hey, that's going to be part of this channel. That's going to be part of the worldview that comes into this channel. You know, it's not something I have any intention on purposely tampering or lessening or getting out of the picture. This is not a channel about religion. It is not a channel about preaching. But, you know, we're talking about the natural world. We're talking about creatures and things that God made. And that's just how I'm going to present those facts. And, you know, that's just my background and my worldview and where I come from. And the videos aren't about that subject most of the time. But if you find bits and pieces of that, that's just me coming out. That's who I am. And so that's why it's in there. And there we are. Next question that I get asked occasionally, or accused of, maybe it's asked, maybe it's accused. I'm not entirely sure. People want to know, is Boss a sponsor of the channel? Because I talk so highly about them. Talking about Boss shot shells, maker of bismuth, and some TSS loads for turkey. Boss is not a sponsor. No one has ever been a sponsor of this channel thus far. There have been not one sponsor to the recording of this video. Now that said, I've got 3,000 subscribers or so as of late. This video is sort of celebrating that fact. Hopefully one day you're watching this, a sort of vintage legacy collection videos, and we're at 300,000 subscribers, and you're just saying, hey, what was it like back then? But that's where we are now. And no, there are no sponsors for the channel. Nobody has ever sent me $1 to make a video or do something like that. I talk about the equipment, I talk about the products, I talk about the brands that I am passionate about, and Boss is one of those. Just a quick anecdote to help some people maybe understand why that's the case. At the very beginning of my waterfowl hunting journey, I started hunting with steel. It was terrible. I'm not going to tell the whole story here just for time's sake, but it was terrible. I eventually heard about bismuth, and I heard somebody about just sharing something about Boss. So I thought, I'm going to look into that. And I went to their website, and I liked what they had to say. I liked that it was made in America. I liked that they had all these things going for them. I like the marketing, but, I'm a skeptic by nature when it comes to these kinds of things, especially when it comes to marketing. And I had questions, a lot of questions. I mean, a lot of questions. And so I emailed Boss. I said, hey, I got all these questions right here. What can you guys tell me? Well, not only did they respond, it wasn't long before I was on the phone with the owner of the company. Now you might say, well, George, of course they're going to do that for YouTubers. I hadn't even started the YouTube channel yet. This didn't even exist. They had no reason to talk to me. They had no reason to treat me any differently from anybody else. I didn't tell them I was anything special. I just said, hey, I have these questions. And so the owner of the company called me for an hour and a half, just going through every question, this and that, and okay, what about this and what about that, and ballistics and density and plating and this, that, and the other thing, and just unbelievable. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to order some of your shells. So I bought 2 entire boxes. The owner of the company invested an hour and a half into me, and I bought 2 whole boxes of shells. And then I bought this GoPro that I'm shooting this video on, and I got some ballistics gel and some paper and went out to the range to find out if what they told me was the truth or a lie. And it turned out to not just be the truth, but even better than what they told me it was going to be. And so I've done a lot of videos related to Boss and using Boss, and the further I've gone, the more I've liked it. That said, Boss doesn't win every test. There are other ammos that outperform, some in some ways, some in others. I never hide those facts. I never delete those things. Those are in every video. The real results are the real results. That's what I publish to you guys. And Boss has been just always open to ask questions, to get information. They've been great to talk to. And there's been other brands, though, that I've been just as happy with and just as vocal with as Boss that have great stories like they do. I really like products that are made in America, especially when it comes to ammunition and firearms and, clothing and equipment and gear. But that said, there's some great stuff that's made other places, too, and I have not been shy about sharing that information with you guys as well. Whatever it is, if I feel passionate about it, I'm going to try to share it. Now, all of that, I also want to point out that just because there have been no sponsors, I am not closed to the idea of sponsors. I'm not against sponsors. But sponsorship, especially with a channel like mine, has to happen in a way that makes sense. Okay? If I was going to do a video where I'm going to test and review 2 different kinds of ammo, and a clothing brand wanted to sponsor that video, I'm fine with that. To me, that's no issue at all. If I'm going to do a review on a clothing brand and a boat company wants to sponsor that video, okay, well, fine. I don't do a whole lot with boats, but, I'll give them their spiel and tell you about their company and thank them for being a sponsor. I'm cool with that. But if I'm going to do an ammo company and if I'm going to do an ammo review, and I'm not going to have an ammo company be a sponsor of that video, because what that's going to do is that's just going to create too many competing priorities, and you're going to end up with data and results that are likely to be skewed towards that company. Doesn't matter who you are is doing the testing. Doesn't matter if it's you, doesn't matter if it's me. Those kind of things create too much bias. And so I'm not going to allow the channel to go down that route. Got to be very careful about, okay, you know, what kind of a sponsor would make sense once we grow to that point for what kind of videos. Now, some people say, well, George, if you have any kind of sponsors, then your content information and your testing and your research is not as credible. I would say I disagree with that, because every bit of research you have ever seen, studied, or built your life upon, whether you knew it or not, was created by someone that has biases. In fact, in all rigorous academic research, the first step of creating that research is acknowledging the potential biases and what you're going to do to mitigate those biases. Researchers in general, they research things that they're passionate about. They have a bias related to the subject that they're researching. Funding organizations, they all have a bias towards something in that research space. Here's a great example. You've got companies that are out there doing research for new equipment to treat cancer, radiation machines, chemotherapy, things that are like that. Well, these companies are doing research to find ways to treat and cure cancer so that they can build equipment and medications that they can then sell and make money. Their research is biased towards them wanting to find a niche in their market, in their industry, so they can make more money. However, you and I should both be glad that they are funding that research, because that helps us, that helps humanity as a whole, that helps everybody dealing with cancer and our friends and family of people that are, in order to get the best possible equipment and medication that's out there in order to help them along. That is how we treat diseases, we find cures for things, we improve our condition, and yeah, there was bias involved in the research project, and that's just part of how it works. And I could go on and on and on about that for another half an hour, but that's not why we're here today. Bottom line is, no, Boss is not a sponsor. Nobody's a sponsor as of this video, but I'm not closed to it. And if I could find a way to make the right kind of sponsors work and not jeopardize the research or the message of that particular video, I'd be happy to engage sponsors. That would just be something that would enable the channel to grow, to come up to another level, to get better equipment, better resources, do more things for testing. You know, guys come to me and they say, hey, I really like that test video that you did, George. Could you do it again with this shotgun? And I'm like, yeah, if you send me one. I mean, how am I supposed to just go out and buy a shotgun to do one video when if YouTube's only going to pay me $6 for that video? Also really hoping the RPM and CPM of these videos goes up. That would be great. It would go a long way. And then, wouldn't need to even talk about things like Patreon or so on. If we had enough resources coming in from that, then that would be great. But nonetheless, if that happens, don't freak out. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. If this thing keeps going and keeps growing, there will be a time where we finally find good, tasteful sponsors that are willing to sponsor content. If somebody like GoDaddy came and wants to sponsor videos, well, that does in no way impact anything that I do with research, with results, with tests, with experiments, with brands. There's so many good ways that could happen and benefit the channel. I'm not close to any of it, but I have turned people away. I have turned down money. I have said, no, sorry, I don't want your money, because the things that they wanted to sponsor or have done or review just didn't make any sense. They weren't things that I would ever use. They aren't things that you guys would ever do or use. And I said, you know what, that's just not a good fit for the audience. You're also not going to get good response on that. This is not the channel for those kinds of things. And so I've been sensitive to that. And once the right opportunities come along, then, I'll be sensitive to those as well. Next question is, what is this channel really? What is the New Hunter's Guide really? What are you trying to do here? Well, this has become, by and large, a shotgun channel. Some people thought, George, is this a duck hunting channel? It is a duck hunting channel. And it's a turkey hunting channel, and a pheasant hunting channel, and a crow hunting channel, and a small game hunting channel, and a deer hunting channel. It's all of those things. But it has really focused in the last year or two around shotgun hunting. And that wasn't necessarily intentional. It's just that I've had a passion around those things, and I've found a lot I can dig my hands and my teeth into, and I've answered a lot of my own questions, and I've found new questions that that I'm pursuing and trying to tackle. And I really like that, and I enjoy it, and you guys seem to like watching it as well. So I'm going to be doing more along those lines. I have all along done a little bit of content about deer hunting and some other things, and I'm going to continue doing that. Gear reviews, things along those lines. But it has become primarily a shotgun hunting channel with some other things mixed in. I've done some 22 long rifle videos, and I intend to do more, right? I like the mix of things that I have on the channel. If you guys would like a different mix, let me know down below in the comments. I would love that feedback, actually, if you've watched this far in the video and you've got, ideas for how we can improve the channel and what a better mix would be. Some days I go to the range and I shoot 4 tests on ammo and things like that and choke tubes, but I stagger them out because I want to space other things in, because I want to talk about other things. I want to talk about, marketing hype in the waterfowl industry. I want to talk about how do you call turkeys. I want to talk about this piece of gear that I got and how much it's helped me and how much I like it. I want to talk about all sorts of different things. Some hunting strategy, some research that I've done and just pulled numbers together, some field experiments, and there's more things that I want to do along those lines. But let me know in the comments if you've got ideas, if you have suggestions. That would be super helpful, actually. Sometimes finding the best ideas for videos is harder than actually making the videos. And so always appreciate your guys' feedback. Next question is, what is next? George, what's on the horizon? Well, short-term turkey season is here and now. That said, I'm never abandoning any particular type of content. I've got waterfowl videos and ammo tests and things that have already been shot that I just couldn't squeeze in during the waterfowl season. So those are in the queue. Those are coming down the road. I've got some turkey hunting videos that are coming, different ammunitions, TSS, Apex, Boss Tom, a bunch of different things that we're going to be testing, evaluating, putting this new Mossberg 940 Pro turkey through and the Hollow Sun 507K sight through its steps and paces, and getting more information out there about those kind of things. So I've got a lot of different things coming up in the short term. Big picture, though, is I want to do very similar to what I've done for the last year, just better. Just answer some deeper questions. Just reach out and do some better videos. Test some additional kinds of ammo, but also do some better tests. Like I said, if things go well with resources coming in, we're going to add some chronograph testing. We're going to add some additional types of ballistic testing. We're going to do some things that nobody else has ever done, I hope. Just like I've done some recoil testing, which I've never seen anybody else do. And yes, I do want to do more of that, along with a variety of other things. So those sorts of things are coming down the pipeline. Those are the kind of things I want to break into here in the next year and just take things further in every direction. I want to do better turkey content, better waterfowl content, better deer hunting content. Now, some people have mentioned about the deer hunting content, and they have said things like, George, shouldn't you talk more about deer hunting? And guys, the bottom line with that is, on the podcast, I talk a lot about deer hunting. There's over 100 podcast episodes about deer hunting. You should check them out. On YouTube, I don't really feel compelled to just sit here and talk about deer hunting and share deer hunting strategy. Now, when it comes to research, when it comes to testing things, when it comes to reviews, when it comes to going outside and going in the woods and doing tests and things like that, I do plan to do more along that line for deer hunting this year. But, there's a lot of guys that have a lot of expertise. So when it comes to just standing here and sharing expertise about deer hunting, I leave it to those guys. Guys like Jeff Sturgis, unbelievable. Just what they know, and Whitetail Habitat Solutions and folks like him that are out there just sharing lots of information. And so I'm going to leave that piece of it to them, and I'm going to focus on what I can bring to the table, which is research, which is experiments, which is different ways of thinking about and looking at things. And those are the sorts of things that I want to bring in and share with you guys. All right, so what else is next? Well, Boss War Chief, they just released their brand new buffered load, which I am planning on probably spending all summer testing against all different kinds of ammunition. I am super excited with that. I really thought I was starting to wind down on testing Boss ammo. I've done a lot of tests using Boss. And then they went ahead and released a brand new load that's supposed to have better penetration and better patterns than anything else they have ever put out. And I'm super excited about that. Cannot wait to do some more testing. Well, to do any testing, I've yet to fire a shot of it. I just got a box. I'm totally stoked. I'm waiting for them to release the other sizes and other different pellet sizes and so on, shell sizes, so I can do some more testing with that. But that's coming down the line. So if you guys have watched this entire video to this point, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You are awesome. What you should do next is check out this video right here that I did that got nowhere near enough attention about why most hunting gear reviews you see on YouTube are complete and other scams and how you can spot them and avoid them. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, God bless you and go get them in the woods.